6 inches behind him. "Oh, sorry," he mumbled, setting the rocking chair back in its place. As he did, he recognized it as one of the late President John F. Kennedy's rockers, which had sold at auction for a small fortune. "No harm done," said his genial host, leading the way into a cozy library. The room was paneled in hand-carved mahogany and lined with shelves full of what appeared to be leather-bound first-edition volumes, exuding an aromatic masculine scent of tobacco. "Cigar?" asked the boss, holding one out to Dominic, which of course he took, although he'd never been particularly fond of them. "They're Cuban," added the boss unnecessarily as he extended a pair of cigar snippers to Dominic. "The Cohiba Robusto, the cigar favored by Fidel Castro himself before he quit smoking." Dominic gamely followed his employer's lead in snipping off the end of the cigar, puffing it into life, and discreetly disposing of the bits of tobacco that clung to his tongue. Taking a seat behind a heavy mahogany desk, the boss poured them each a glass of vintage port from a crystal decanter and motioned Dominic into a deep-seated burgundy leather chair opposite. "They say the best cigars are rolled between the soft thighs of a Cuban peasant woman," he added, and as he poured the wine, the diamonds in the rings on his fingers flashed in the flickering firelight. "But I've never believed that," he chuckled. Dominic guessed that a nearby Jacobean armoire disguised a sophisticated computer and modem setup. A man could stay in a room like this happily for 6 months and never come out, he thought. He still had no idea why he'd been summoned. A dozen work-related comments flitted through his head, but he decided to keep quiet until he knew what the meeting was about. "Dom, what would you say is the most important quality an employee should possess?" Dominic blinked at the boss. He knew a trick question when he heard one. What was the angle? "In what way do you mean, sir?" Through a wreath of cigar smoke, the boss shrugged. "What do you think is the most important thing an employee should offer his or her company?" He fixed his sharp blue eyes on Dominic's face. Little needles of anxiety prickled Dominic's underarms, and he could feel himself beginning to sweat beneath his suit coat, vest, and crisp white cotton shirt. The boss wasn't interested in what Dominic thought, of course, but in what Dominic thought the boss thought. Without breaking eye contact, Dominic said, "Loyalty." A smile of approval stretched across the boss's lean, handsome face. "You're absolutely right, Dom. Nothing matters any more in these trying times than loyalty. You've got to be able to trust the people who are working for you, and that's all there is to it." "Yes, sir." "If you can't trust them," he narrowed his eyes. "What's this about, Mr.?" The boss held up a hand to quiet Dominic. "Watch this." From somewhere behind the desk, he pushed a button, and suddenly one of the bookshelves that lined the room swung out and away, revealing a secret room within. "I want to show you something," the boss said. He got up from behind the desk and headed into the entranceway of the secret room behind the bookshelves. Dominic felt a sudden wave of panic and struggled to suppress it. What the hell was happening? Was he about to get his ass killed and sealed up in some macabre hidden chamber like some freaking Edgar Allan Poe story? Following reluctantly, still holding the fragile wineglass because he didn't know what else to do with it, Dominic hung back, close to the entryway, keeping the boss in front of him, and peered into the brightly lit, vault-like, windowless, concrete chamber measuring about 12 by 12 feet. Nestled within the room was a second room. The entire inner room, all 4 sides, was constructed of plexiglass, resting like some giant cube of ice within a gleaming copper mesh wire cage that was elevated about 6 inches off the floor.